Then Cinderella said, "What I'd like best in all the world is to go to the dance at the town hall. But Mother says I mustn't, and I ain't got any clothes anyway." Then the fairy ghost waved a stick, and Cinder's changed to a beautiful lady, like what you see in Harrod's store's window, with a veil on her head and flowers on her chest. And her face all went clean without washing it. Then Cinderella said, "I can't go down the King's Road like this in these clothes. The girls won't half-sling off at me." "Get a pumpkin and a mousetrap," said the grandmother's ghost. So Cinderella got 'em, and the ghosty fairy waved a stick, and the pumpkin turned into a lovely carriage, like the one we had when young Elfie died. There was 4 mice in the mousetrap, and they turned into 4 horses with long tails like funeral horses. Then the fairy grandmother said, "Off in the carriage and go to the dance, but be back home by 12 o'clock or I'll have the clothes off your back, my lady." So Cinderella went to the dance, and the prince was there, and he danced with Cinderella, and they had their photos took for the daily papers, and the prince treated her to a small port, and they got that friendly they could have stopped there all night. Then just as the prince was telling Cinders what a nice girl she was, the clock started to strike 12. Cinderella jumped up, drunk up her port, ran right through the big room where all the people was dancing. She ran that fast that one of her shoes came off, and the prince ran after her, but he couldn't catch her, so he picked up her shoe and went back to the bar, and he felt so mad he couldn't dance any more. When Cinders got home, she was all dressed in her old clothes, and she didn't half cop out because the supper wasn't ready. Next day it was in all the papers that the prince would marry the girl what could get the shoe on. And just as the stepmother was giving Cinderella a hiding for smashing her cup, who should come running in but the prince and Mr. Baldwin and the school board man. And the ugly Cat's sisters tried on the shoe, but it wouldn't go on their little toes. But when Cinders tried it on, it fitted lovely. So the prince said, "Will you have me for your husband?" And Cinderella said, "Will a swim duck?" Then the prince gave Cinders a kiss, and Mr. Baldwin gave her a promise, and the school board man said her children don't never have to go to school. And then Cinderella told the newspaper man that the prince wasn't a bit like a prince, and he danced lovely. And then they had some more photos took for the Sunday papers this time. Next day they got married and went to Southend for their honeymoon, and when they come back, they lived happy ever after. Elsie? Elsie? Come in this minute or I'll cut the legs from under you. You know that far left that is to get to the firehouse, and you've got to go down the street for me, and your father's dinner's not ready? Oh, all right. Can't go out to play for 5 minutes, but what you're going to come in and do something or other.